Okay, cool. So I'm going to be talking to you guys about my favorite topic ever, which is social enterprise. And lastly, focus on impact. So you need to know, you need to understand what tools are you going to set up to indicate how much impact you're going to have. And numbers are everything. I'll share with you guys an example. I was raised in Africa, and I was fundraising from Australia for us to build a school inside an orphanage over in Kenya, in an area called Ligusa. And while we were building this school, we were struggling to raise funds. And then I read that, and we implemented it, and we were able to raise $110,000 in just a few weeks. Because instead of going, we need $110,000 donate, we need $110,000 donate, we said, we need $110,000 to put 42 orphans in a school and support the local community, because we want to build a school for 150 kids. So they already had numbers, so people could connect with it. We took photos of the land that had been donated, and we showed the map of the architect that had donated his time. Then, instead of fundraising just for $110,000, because no one's going to give you $110,000, people were giving us $2, $10, like we were going nowhere. We decided to build a strategic fundraising campaign where we allocated how much money by you giving, what would it would turn into. So for example, $50 equals a cement bag. $100 equals a block of, or a wall of bricks. So we started putting numbers towards it, and we started putting, and obviously real numbers. We were able to raise and build the school within a few months. So within, I think it was like 4 weeks, we raised $110,000. And then within less than 6 months, we had a whole school fully operating, and we had raised enough to not only build the school, but also cover the cost of teaching for the first year. So it's very important for you to be clear about what impact are you going to have, and also put numbers down to it. So if you're fundraising, if you are creating an impact, a business that I love here in Australia is the Thank You Water brand. I love that brand. And what they do is whenever you buy a Thank You brand, it's got a number at the bottom, and it shows, and you can go online and you type in the number, and it shows what project it's going towards and how much more they need to raise to achieve the goal. So, and this is why a lot of us buy the product. And yes, the Thank You product, the water bottles, the chewy bars, the soaps are more expensive than the normal product on a supermarket. But because we know it's going towards something good, and we can track the impact, and we feel good because you go on the website and you see that it's going towards this water tank, and you go, wow, I've just helped build a water tank in Africa and I'm drinking water. So it's very important for you to put systems in place so you can track your impact, and also stay connected to your customers. So for example, something that was very trendy a few years ago is every time you'd buy a product, a tree would get planted or a kid would get fed. Send them a photo. Connect, because you need to build the trust, because for a long time charities were getting money and we didn't know what the money was going towards. And now with the transparency on the internet, it's quicker and faster than ever. You can get people in Africa, in Philippines, in Indonesia to send you a photo of what the money is going towards a project, and share it with your stakeholders so that they can celebrate the wins together with you and continue supporting your impact. And I've been seeing a lot of that over COVID. Most of my friends are social entrepreneurs, and all of their organizations continue to sell, and some of them are selling more than ever because they shared more than ever stories, and they consumers and customers see that they continue running and operating during COVID, so more and more people are buying for it. So when you're setting a goal, so identify your long-term goals and communicate it all over your website and flyers. Map the necessary requirements for you to achieve that goal and make it public. I mean, we live in the internet world, so let people have access to it. Identify the interventions of your enterprise will perform to create the desired change. Develop the indicators to measure the outcomes, and explain the logic behind your enterprise. So put it down to numbers, because you'll see that a lot more people will support it. So if you don't know how to measure your impact, you will end up in two probably problems. One problem is that you might not achieve any goals because you don't know where you're measuring and you don't know where you're working towards. Or other is customers and stakeholders will not donate or buy products from you because they don't know what the money is going towards. You're not able to understand. So you need to understand the problem you're solving, the why behind your organization. Put purpose above profit, but also keep your community informed of your progress. So maybe have a little progress bar and send them an email every time you hit a goal and celebrate it with them. And you'll see, if you send an email every time you celebrate, asking them to donate a tiny little bit more or buy more cookies or buy more socks or coffee, as we've seen in the video, you will see that a lot more people. I was speaking to a social entrepreneur from Panama, and he used to bring 1 container over from Panama every year. And during COVID, he sold 10 in 1 month because he shared a story about how by buying this really expensive, high quality, he was able to show his impact. So it's super, super, super important. So embrace your weirdness. So as an entrepreneur, people will call you crazy. Let them call you crazy, but it's better to be crazy and create your social impact than live a life like no one. So I saw this quote from Bill, and Bill's the founder of Ashoka, and he said, no one can tell you you can't change the world, and no one should ever say that, but if they say, just literally ignore them. You can't be a happy person in life until you have changed the pattern in society. So as an entrepreneur, it's not your job to give the fish, to give the bottle of water, to give the product straight away. Do what Professor Yunus has done. He lends the money, he lends $100 for people to start the business, teaches them how to build a micro enterprise, pay the money back so that he can continue helping someone else. So do something that shakes the world and builds a new pattern in society. And remember that we belong, we live, and we can change together. Social entrepreneurship is not about the me or the I or the you, it's about the we. It's about you selling a product and your customer being really happy, but it's also about your customer knowing that they're supporting you so you can support an organization and keep it as transparent as possible. We're here because we can't wait for change. We created this workshop because we've had a lot of friends calling us and saying, we need social enterprises. Can you do a workshop? Can you build up a course? So I have a little surprise for you guys. You guys are the first to hear about this. So this morning we launched a how to become a social entrepreneur course. So it will teach you step by step. Probably it has about 300 tips. Yeah, 300 tips, 300 slides on how you can transform your idea into an effective social enterprise. I'll share you with you guys. The course is divided into 2 stages. Stage 1 is on you understanding entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship. So understanding entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, and what is social innovation. Then you will understand the global and local context to create change. Define your passion, mission as a change maker through different activities we're going to give you. Enhance your emotional intelligence, attitude, and skills. Develop effective business solutions to social and environmental challenges. Demonstrate essential entrepreneurial skills, and create a social enterprise plan. So that's step 1. So we're looking at the big picture. The second part of the course is then when we put into action. So we'll help you understand your why by doing the golden circle activity. Then what is the right business model? So we're going to be sharing with you guys about 15 different business models that you can operate your social enterprise. We're going to go more in depth into what a unicorn and a zebra is. We're going to teach you about design thinking so you can find effective solutions by testing the market through ideation and testing and implementation. We're going to teach you about proof of concept, how to do the minimal viable product. We're going to teach you about 15 different revenue models, and 5 of them very focused on social enterprises that most people have never heard of. We're going to teach you how to pitch, how to find your first customers, how to set goals and measure them, and how to build your 1, 3, and 5-year business goals, which is super important because without setting goals, we're never going to be able to progress. And again, showing Bill's the founder of the term of social entrepreneurship. So social entrepreneurs are not content just to give a fish or teach how to fish. They will not rest until they have revolutionized the fishing industry. So be an entrepreneur that's going to change the pattern, change the way we do things in the world, so you can really solve these big problems. So a little bit about me. So I've been a social entrepreneur since the age of 9. I'm 31 now, so now I feel old, but I started at the age of 9. So I was born in Brazil, and when I was 9, I lived in South Africa. And that's where I started my first social enterprise. And my first social enterprise was teaching. So I was fundraising for books because I wanted to give everybody the right of fighting for what they deserved. And at that time in South Africa, having moved from Brazil to South Africa, I saw that people were getting judged and getting different opportunities according to the skin color. And I didn't think that was fair. So I started this little fundraiser to collect books so that everybody could learn how to read and get the knowledge to fight for the rights. Then from there, I lived in Mexico City, where we started a community-focused skateboard company. And by the time I moved to Australia, I had run a lot of social entrepreneurial projects. So I started a public relations company to help businesses that were socially responsible shine a light and grow through public relations. And we actually, thanks to Rotary, we won Business of the Year in 2011 for some of the projects we were doing here in Australia, but contributing back to Africa. And then late last year, Academy of Entrepreneurs, so the school that I set up, we won Business of the Year. So it's amazing to not only do what you love, but also to have us being recognized so more people can hear about it and be inspired to be social entrepreneurs. I'll show you guys just a little interesting fact. As I was building this presentation for you guys yesterday, I think there was so much like love. I received a phone call from one of Professor Muhammad Yunus, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, who's one of the biggest social entrepreneurs. I received a phone call from one of his closest friends inviting me to present with Professor Muhammad Yunus. So on the 28th this month is Professor Yunus's 80th birthday, but because of COVID, his birthday party was cancelled. And he invited 100 social entrepreneurial leaders to run online panels with him. So keep an eye, because I'll be presenting with Professor Yunus along with 100 other social entrepreneurs. So this month, you guys are going to be seeing a lot on social entrepreneurship. I've also presented at Google, Microsoft, HSBC, the United Nations, and all these amazing places so we can get our message across, but also with a lot of governments such as the Australian government, Brazilian, Colombian, Chilean, French. So I do have a little bit of experience in social entrepreneurship. It's what I love, live and breathe every single day. Remember to tag us. So if you're going to take any photo of us presenting, tag us and we will reshare. Hashtags of the day is Boss Your Future, and also you can share on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So add us, because we're going to be giving a lot of information around social entrepreneurship in the next month. So my focus in the next 4 weeks is to talk about social entrepreneurship like 90% of the time. So if you're as passionate as me about this topic, please follow us so you guys can get a lot more information on.